recording. What kind of car are you in, Christy?
I'm in a QX80.
Okay, nice.
It's big.
Yeah. It's for all 4 million kids, right?
Yes. How many kids do you have?
I have 2.
Yeah. I have 4.
Oh, yeah. That is a handful.
Keep you busy.
Yeah. 2 of them are grown, though, so I just have I have a 16 and 11-year-old at home.
Okay. Still,
Christy, I'm definitely glad you're not driving. I used to give a bunch of people shit when they were there recording themselves and driving at the same time. It always scares me.
Yeah. Safety first.
What's that?
Safety first.
That's right. Absolutely. Well, look, thanks for joining us today. This week's went by so damn fast. So I know it's been quite a while between I guess it's been a while since you and I have spoken in person. We were just talking at conferences and such. For anyone that's watching, for people that don't know exactly who Christy Roman is, why don't you give us a little bit of background? Where'd you get started? How long you've been in the industry, and what you're currently doing?
Yeah, well, I got started in the car business, if you will, in 1998. I went to work for a company called Auto Connect, which became Autotrader.com. And
wow.
That dates me. It's like almost since Al Gore invented the internet is my joke. That's how long I've been doing it. But in 1998, I went to Auto Connect, and I was their 7th salesperson that they had. And at the time, they were selling Auto Trader through the Mannheim auction, which didn't really work very well. And when it became Autotrader.com, I had the privilege of writing, well, not the privilege, but I wrote a business plan for how I thought we could charge more money and presented it.
Lost your audio.
Did we lose you, Christy? Yep.
She's still talking.
Yeah, I don't know if she realized that she got cut off there.
Love technology.
Mm-hmm. Let's see.
Shoot her a text.
Done.
I need like a sign I can put up.
Right.
She probably hit mute or something, doesn't realize.
Yeah, she's probably wondering why she's not hearing us.
Maybe she does hear us.
Sure, maybe. Yep, she's trying to unmute.
It's always fun.
All right. Oh, there she goes. Well,
it's been that Friday, man. I swear. I left work this morning. I was supposed to switch cars. Forgot to do that. Left my phone at home. Had to go back. I mean, it's just been a few other things here at work. Just, I don't know. It's like it's just one of those Fridays, I guess. That's all right. It'll get better with the weekend, I'm sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Christy, are you there? Can you hear us? You can hear us.
Can you hear me?
Oh, there you are.
Okay. I don't know what happened. Sorry.
No.
Anyway.
Well, it might just be.
I saw your lips move and you were still talking, so I don't know exactly where.
So I was saying that
you were on the Autotraders. You had put together a business plan.
I wrote a business plan and I went out and I was able to prove a different business model than what they had at the time, and I get to say that I helped them still make hundreds of millions of dollars off of that business plan 20 years ago. And since then, I've done a variety of things. Right now, I run a digital automotive company, that specializes in helping car dealers figure out how to spend their money in digital.
What's
And
that
then
called?
I run Women in Automotive. What's that?
That's your Now Digital, right?
Right. That's right. Mm-hmm.
And that's more of was it more of a consulting firm that you own?
It's a little bit of both. We specialize in pre-roll advertising, and then I consult on the side too.
So a lot of pre-roll, huh?
Yep.
What got you into pre-roll?
Well, I
As that
work
being
for,
like your main specialty.
because I work for an ad agency that can produce the commercials, and for a long time, when I wasn't affiliated with an agency, we couldn't do pre-roll because we didn't have any good production. But now we have good production, and we can do really cool pre-roll campaigns. So that's what we specialize in.
That's cool. Let's come back to that because I want to hear more about you. But I would love to come back to that. I mean, if that's what your expertise is, I've got a few questions around it.
Sure.
And then if there's anyone watching that has some questions around pre-roll, maybe some best practice and such, maybe we'll dive into that a little bit more as well. So now you also are the founder of Women in Automotive?
That is correct. Mm-hmm.
You founded it, ground up, all you.
All me. Mm-hmm. We have Jody DeVere, we have Kathy Gilbert, Subi Ghosh, Joni Stuker. We all got together and said, you know, is this a good idea? And we didn't know if anyone would come, but I went ahead and got incorporated and got it all ready to go. And we decided to try to have an event and see what happened. So this is our year, actually, this year.
Fifth year?
Fifth year, yep.
How has it grown from the first one to last year?
Well, we've done, like last year we did, our signature event in Orlando is usually around 400 ladies, depending on what else we do throughout the year. Last year we did an event in LA at the LA Auto Show and had 150 attendees at that. We do an event at the Chicago Auto Show. It's a luncheon that we do during media days, and we do 150 people at that. And then at the New York Auto Show this year, we've done a breakfast every year. This year we're doing a brunch on a Sunday. We expect to have 60 to 100 New York ladies show up at that event. And then we are participating at Digital Dealer. We're going to have we're going to have a booth this year, but we speak at Digital Dealer and Driving Sales. And then we have our signature event in June, which this year is going to be at Disney World.
Well, sounds like a lot of food. Luncheons.
Food and beverage.
So, but it's also a conference as well, right?
Yeah, June is the big conference. We've done a couple years ago. We did 2 conferences. We did one in Palm Springs, and it was awesome. But all of us have day jobs, so so it was hard to do 2. But definitely, we're always going to have one signature event, and hopefully it'll stay at Disney because I love Disney World. That's how I even got to Florida, working at Disney World. So having an event there is going to be really, really fun.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I don't think anyone in the industries has used Disney as the I guess the main place for a conference.
Well, and great for parents. I mean, that's a huge appeal right there.
Well, and we want our conference to be family friendly. You know, NADA was in Orlando for a while, and then they pulled out. And you know, when we were deciding where we should have this conference, I thought, why not make it family friendly so people can come, go to Disney, Universal, have fun with their kids. The last few years, we've provided childcare. I don't think we're not gonna be able to do that at Disney, but they have babysitters you can hire. But it's going to be so cool. It's at a hotel called the Coronado Springs. We're trying to put together a VIP Epcot reception where we can all go see the kick-ass fireworks in a VIP location. So it's going to be really cool. I hope you guys will both come.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll be able to make it this year, maybe a little too soon, but definitely in the future. So men are allowed, is what you're saying?
Yes, Jeff, men are allowed.
We're not excluded?
No.
No, I think it was Jody. We had Jody on 2 weeks ago, and we had Subi on last week. And I believe it was Jody was was talking about how you actually had quite a few men, I guess, approach, and now there's a board of men that are also a part of the Women in Automotive.
Yeah, I call it the man board, but yes, we have a board of male advisors. So we have Alex Vetter from Cars.com and Chip Perry from 2Car, Dan Flynn from CDK, Justin Bird from Team Velocity, Chris Saraceno from the Kelly Automotive Group, Brian Benstock, of course, from the Paragon Group. Trying to think, Joe George, who's a senior VP at Cox Automotive, Jared Hamilton, obviously running driving sales. So we, we have that group of men, and one of the things that's allowing us to do this year, or actually next year at NADA, is one of the things Chip Perry of 2Car, I forgot about him, but Chip suggested when we had our one of our first calls is, how can we put together some kind of speaking events, which we're going to get to do at NADA, where we can have the men engaging with the men. Whenever we've spoken at NADA, we've done all these different things, but a lot of times when you say women in anything, it precludes men from feeling like they need to go to it. And so what we're trying to do is create content where the men will be speaking with the men regarding culture and women and things like that, so that hopefully we can get more people to engage on this topic. It's all well and good to have an event. We have a lot of fun. It's good for everyone who comes. We all learn, network, we become empowered. But I feel like we have a bigger purpose, which is how do we help the automotive industry survive as it is, because for whatever reason they continue to do business in a way that they've always done it, and it's not working for the consumer. And as long as it's not working for the consumer, some of these disruptions have a real opportunity to wreak havoc with the franchise model. So that's another reason we really want these male advisors to help us figure out how can we help dealerships, what can we do so dealerships can create a culture where women will come and stay and work, and young people also, so that when someone goes in to buy a car, it's not just all a bunch of guys. It's people that look like they do. Women make up 50% of the car buying population. They make 80% of the influential decisions around buying a car. And yet you go to a dealership and virtually the only person that's a woman is sitting at the reception desk, or she's back in accounting somewhere. And I think from a monetary standpoint, that's a real danger for the industry, more so than just, whether we can help certain women become promoted or excel in their careers, if that makes any sense.
Makes a lot of sense. I mean, you look at CarMax and Carvana, they've got a lot of appeal because they're open, or they just come to your house. And,
right, you don't have to go.
Yeah.
Well, you said earlier dealerships are doing it wrong. Are there any specifics whenever you say that you can dive into? What exactly are dealerships doing so wrong?
It's a 30-day month, and it starts on the 1st, and they're so focused on selling the car that they forget about the person, and they don't, for whatever reason, there's not a lot of training and development that goes into their people. So, I mean, I still have dealers that are rehiring people they fired 5 years ago because he understands how it works. And, when we can talk about Carvana, we can talk about Tesla, but for me, my analogy is Blockbuster and Netflix. Blockbuster took less than 5 years to become obsolete. What was it, last week they said there's one Blockbuster left in the world, and it's in Bend.
It's in I believe it's in Oregon.
Yeah, it's in Bend, which is actually a really cool place. But from the franchise standpoint, I think the bigger threat from my standpoint is Amazon, because Amazon makes a practice of you not having to go to a showroom and buy stuff. They bring it to you. And if Amazon, who doesn't really have a dog in this hunt, they're not like Google or Facebook making a bunch of money off of the advertising. They could create an entirely new paradigm where young people don't know they have to go to a dealership and sit there for 6 hours. They could change the entire model to where the car comes to you, you do your test drive, all the paperwork gets done online. You never have to go to a dealership unless you want to service the car. And I believe that's a real threat. How quickly it happens, I guess, kind of depends on what Amazon does. Right now, they have their partnership with Hyundai. They're supposed to have another one coming out with another OEM. But the whole premise of the way we buy cars today is not, since it's not an enjoyable experience for consumers, that is where I think the biggest opportunity lies for disruption to disrupt the franchise model completely. And so part of our goal is, how can we help dealers adjust to that? What can they do? What can we do to help them become more customer focused? And part of that is having a culture where women are comfortable working and will stay. And that has to do with your comp plans. It has to do with how many hours you make people work. It has to do with allowing people to have balance in their life and career. It's all a variety of factors. It's no small undertaking, but that's a big part of what we're trying to do with Women in Automotive and with this male advisory panel, is to try to make the case for things that we can help dealers do practically that will provide longevity for the franchise model.
Well, stop promoting the lot lizard into the sales manager role would be a good one.
Yes, and I've said many times, I think when you look across the industry, most of the managers and even a lot of the GMs come out of sales. They take you the best salesperson and make them the manager. And as everyone knows, if you're into sports, the best player does not make the best coach. And so when you have a lot of people who maybe are great at selling cars but don't know how to develop and manage people, that's I would say an overarching view of automotive. A majority of the dealerships out there are being run by people like that. And it's not anyone's fault, but in order to change that, the managers need to learn how to manage and develop people. And they need to learn how to train and develop their staff so that they don't have, the statistic in NAD is 90% of women blow out within the first year, but 70% of salespeople blow out in the first year, male or female. That's a terrible statistic. So something, I think, has to change in the culture to make that number go down. And then also to change the focus from just selling the car to how do we take care of this customer? And I don't know that the manufacturers always help with that, because they've got all those kickbacks. And so dealers get desperate at the end of the month to sell as much as they can. That's not a customer focused model. That's a manufacturer incentive-based model. And I don't think that's going to work long-term if dealers don't wake up to that.
There were, I think back to my days of selling cars, and the biggest demoralizer was the salesperson who was selling tons of cars and running out and carting everybody and then getting all the bones from the desk. And then once that person left, however that person left, all of us our game would rise significantly. And the dealership might have sold 150 cars every month with that great salesperson there. And then once that person left, we immediately shoot to like 180 or 200.
That's interesting.
And I never understood why that they kept hiring this person back over and over and over again. You'd see this trend. It would happen every time.
Yeah.
Is it just because of month-to-month mentality, a paranoia of not hitting numbers? Is it?
Yeah. You put chips on the board. That's all.
Yeah.
It's month to month. It's a month to month mentality. And I wish that, the manufacturers were more helpful in this area, but with the way they compensate the dealers, it is what it is. And so only the dealers that are looking down the road and concerned about Amazon and Carvana and thinking, how easy would this be? It's getting more transactional as it is. How easy would it be for the new car business to be purely transactional and to lose all of these incentives and to lose all of those benefits and just to become a place where people test drive and pick up their cars? I think that's a very real threat. And for whatever reason, all the people I know seem to keep doing business as usual. But we're hoping that through organizations like Women in Automotive and when we have this conference at NADA and have these gentlemen talking about this cultural issue to each other, that we can drive some significant cultural changes in the way that business is done.
And how many, I'm speaking from personal experience, but I've always been amazed when working with female GMs in particular. One comes to mind who actually worked with at Checkered Flag. Her name's Rebecca. I keep her last name out just to not put her on the spot. But today she's the general manager of Checkered Flag Honda, and she's amazing. She was one of my F&I managers when I first started selling cars. And the difference in what having a woman leader is like, if you haven't experienced it, it's something special, no doubt about it, especially if you have the right woman at the helm. And I'm sure you've got plenty of examples there too.
I wouldn't say we have plenty of examples. If we did, then, we wouldn't need to have an organization talking about it. But no, I don't think we have a lot. And that was one of the things you talk about too. Women who come to work at a store and just see a bunch of men can't really envision how they can move ahead in their careers either. And so, when you have a female GM or a female GSM, the women who come and work for them actually can see a path forward. Maybe it won't be there and maybe it won't be anytime soon, but they can at least picture themselves in a role like that. Women are, and we talked about this in the Cars.com panel. The whole hashtag Me Too is a real issue also in dealerships. Dealers are afraid of being sued for sexual harassment, and that's another issue. Men and women learning how to work together. That's not a small task. I mean, given the circumstances of the whole hashtag Me Too, I think probably more dealers wouldn't say it out loud, but feel more frightened about hiring women because they don't want to get sued. You hear every day about somebody suing for something and settling with a car dealership. It could be just a receptionist who got mad, but it was he said, she said. The next thing you know, they're settling a lawsuit. So I feel like the other part of it is we all need to be able to talk about the relationship of men and women working together. It's, women make very loyal employees. They're very, they're good at sales. They're good in service. They're good in finance. They can do any of these roles well with the right training and mentorship, but we still have to figure out how to intermingle each other and try to prevent some of these, to create a culture from the top down that promotes a professional environment that alleviates those fears. It's not enough just to bring a woman in or a couple women in and throw them into a culture that's misogynistic, if it's misogynistic, because you're going to have those problems. So what can we also do as a group to influence the type of culture that avoids or tries to avoid some of those very real threats for car dealers?
Do you have any examples?
Nope. I just talking to a dealer the other day. A receptionist said he touched me or something, and they ended up settling a lawsuit for, $50,000, a ridiculous amount of money. No, I don't. I mean, that's why these are such important conversations to have. We need to find dealers who are, who have created an environment where those things don't happen, because they do. And so, if you look at both sides of the coin, on the one side, it'd be better for dealers to have more women selling for them because they probably sell more cars and they'd have higher customer satisfaction. But the other side of that coin is, if they're going to get sued when they have women as employees, that, for whatever it is, harassment, whatever, discrimination, that's on the other side of the coin. So we have to find those dealers who can talk about both sides of it.
No, I definitely hear you. I've spoken to quite a few dealerships that are, they'll behind the door, they'll express the fact that they're sort of afraid to hire women just because of all the different stories out there and being sued. And
yeah,
I mean, the group that I work with,
those really happen. That's not hearsay. There's a lot of suing that goes on, and then there's a lot of times that women don't sue when they could. So it's it's a little bit of a quandary. And so I feel like part of what Women in Automotive is here for is to talk about those issues and let's not sweep it under the rug, because we can't help the industry grow and attract more women if we can't address some of the very real issues that exist around that topic.
So do you have any dealerships? Have you spoken to any dealerships that are doing it right, or at least getting there, or have taken the right approach initially?
So, I talk about AutoNation. Katie Walda, she used to train at Cars.com, and she's a trainer at AutoNation. But one of the things that they initiated was day one. When someone comes as an employee, I guess, since I'm not an HR person, I've not read any of these statistics, but apparently there are statistics that the better your first day of work is, the longer people tend to stay. And, I'm sure we're all familiar with the dealership that hires you and waits to give you business cards for 90 days to see if you make it that long. So with what they do is they try to make day one a really important day. If you have a uniform with a name on it, business cards, whatever it is, it's all there on day one. And they treat you, they train you, they make sure that you feel that you're part of something, that you're part of a company. It's not just you in isolation, sitting and watching a video, of whatever that training looks like. So I think those kinds of initiatives are those are really cool initiatives to be able to make people feel, it doesn't, man, woman, child.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think a lot of these things are really exclusive to women. I think they're just
No, day one employment. That's why I say what we're doing for women in automotive isn't just.
You got muted again.
Yep. Christy, you hit mute on yourself.
Audio.
I got it.
I was muted
There
again.
you go.
Okay. I can't say that I can name a lot of dealerships doing things right. Everyone's trying to do different things. Lisa Copeland's on our board. When she ran her Fiat store, she had multiple compensation structures. So if you didn't want to get a commission-based structure, she created one where you could be like, a lot of millennials they don't care about making $100,000. They'd rather make, 50 and have a life. So creating a culture around the dynamics of the people that are actually available to work for you is something that we're looking for, dealers who are doing these different experiments, job sharing, things like that. How can we help dealers actually practically put some of this into play? It's not like there's a whole bunch doing it. Most are still doing the same thing. And that's one of the reasons why having conversations like this is good, because if we can reach out, if we can find dealers who are doing it well and wouldn't mind sharing their story, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for more dealers to say, okay, I don't know how to do this. What do we got to do?
Why is it so damn hard?
Well, when you grow up a culture around sales for however many years, especially with the way the manufacturers incentivize these dealers, it's the money. It's where the money. It's the money. And so
that's every industry, It's always followed.
I don't know, but it's not every industry. I mean, everybody, if you're a public company, you want to make money. But I mean, like, one of the things I talk to dealers about is, you do know that you have used cars and you have service and parts, right? You do know. And you also know that you have all these people coming into your dealership every day. Couldn't you sell other things to them? What if you sold like credit lock in finance? Or what if I'm sitting in service and you can sell me AdvoCare? I mean, I'm just naming things. But the point is, dealers have a much more well-rounded business than just the new car side of it. And so it's so skewed to the new car side of it. I feel like they've forgotten about these other areas and how they can profit there too. So that's what I talk about: alternative revenue streams. Who says service? You got to bring the car to you. Why can't you get the car and bring it? Take it from the consumer. Just again, what they say about transportation, or what was it? The trains that kind of got left behind because they forgot they were in the transportation business. I think that the automotive dealers are kind of the same way. Servicing a car doesn't have to be at a dealership. There was a dealer that has a service writer at businesses nearby. You drop your car off with a service writer. The service writer writes your ticket up. They take it, fix the car up, and bring it back to the office. So there's all these different ways dealers could be making money, and it's so focused on new cars. And so I just like to remind them that, there's other ways to make money.
What about some small steps? Like these sound like bigger things to try and pull off. Are there some smaller things that people could walk away from the show today and implement right away?
I think the biggest thing is just is to look at the hours that people have to work in order to facilitate a job like this. Why does everyone have to be there at 8 a.m. When nobody's going to really start buying cars until usually afternoon? So creating schedules that are workable for people, and allowing people to be able to do some of their job not at the dealership. So if I've got a baseball game with my son, but I've got a smartphone and I can call, if I'm in the BDC, I can still make calls, I can still answer leads, giving people the flexibility to have a decent work schedule. And then creating alternative compensation plans where if a young person isn't interested in working 6 days a week, bell to bell, could you maybe create a 5-day work week for them where they get 2 days off in a row? Doesn't have to be in a weekend, but 2 days off in a row, and then create a compensation structure that appeals to that person. So maybe they become they demo the car and they do all that, and you have a closer that actually comes in and puts the hammer on them, if you want to put it that way. Doing things like that, little steps like that, looking at job sharing, in a BDC. If you have 2 women, this is something eLeads does. They have a lot of job sharing at eLeads, and it's because where they're located, their phone room in Georgia is next to a large military base. So some of the military wives work there part-time, and it's kind of cool. They all wear different color-coded. Have you ever been to eLeads? They wear color-coded shirts depending on what.
I've been at the call center before.
Yeah. Well, it's really cool the way they do it, but just little things like that, trying to figure out how to make a work-life balance structure. If you can start there at least, and then look at different ways of compensating people so that you can attract younger people into your business. Those would be some small steps. And then the whole day one, it's not hard to make day one employment meaningful.
I like that idea, the day one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you're going to have a shirt, put your name on it, buy the shirts, give them the cards, introduce them to everyone, take them to lunch, make them feel like they're part of something bigger than just themselves. That's an easy one.
Yeah, I like that. Of course, day 2 and day 3 have to be just as good.
Well, you're getting pretty.
Variable pay plans. I definitely see some challenges around that, but you could probably make that work for sure. And I think dealerships are almost going to be forced into something like that, as if they want to keep people working for them, or if they want to get new people to work for them.
Well, and as a business continues to get more transactional, it's how many people are making big commissions instead of like $120 a car, and so when you look at the reality of how the industry is changing, it's in danger of becoming purely transactional, at least on the new car side. And so
the problem with that is, I don't know. I mean, the whole transactional piece, yes, I get it. The cars are not getting easier. They're not getting easier to use. They're actually becoming more complicated. I mean, a true delivery on a Mercedes-Benz could probably take 3 hours. Showing the customer everything that needs to be shown. Then you got to hook up their Mercedes Me, and then there's a host of other things you have to do using particular, like the iPad for Mercedes, and then you've got a slew of different things that the manufacturer insists that the dealership do during the delivery. And of course, most people probably retain about 20 to 30% of it at most. But if it's purely transactional, I mean, and they're not coming into the dealership. I want to believe that that's where it's going, but I don't know. I mean, working on the dealership level, seeing our customers come in,
well, you're in a bit of a different situation.
Experience for them.
I think you're in a different situation, though. And you're talking about a different part of the process also, which is you know, what I think about when I talk about this is I talk about, like, I could not imagine renting a movie without going to Blockbuster. In my mind, you know, Blockbuster couldn't imagine renting a movie without going to Blockbuster, or they would have bought Netflix when they had the opportunity to, and they didn't. So when we talk about trends and how people change and what can change the way how business is done, those are very real trends. And I'm not saying that that it's going to happen overnight. I'm not even saying I don't want it to happen. I mean, part of this is we all want to have our jobs too, and so. But the other piece of it is if a whole industry is set up for my age and older, because that's how it's always been done, and then Amazon comes in and says, "Hey, young people, we'll bring the car to you. We'll do all the paperwork online. You don't even have to come to this dealership to get your car." Who's to say that that could not become a trend? And how quickly could it take over the way things are now? Again, because people don't like buying cars. I can say no matter where I go in the country, if someone asks me what I do and I tell them, they will tell me some story about how they tried to buy a car and got screwed. Everywhere I go, it doesn't matter. And so when that's the whole perception of an entire industry that makes up 10% of our country's economy, that's a problem. And it's not a problem if Amazon doesn't get involved, if any of these disruptors don't really take hold. But it is a real problem if those things do take hold. And so our, preventative medicine, let's figure out how can we make consumers like this process better so that even if that were to happen, it doesn't replace what happens. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
It might become part of the business model, but it won't replace it like Netflix did.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I guess time will tell, right?
It will. It will.
So it's definitely a lot of information. Yeah. I don't know. It's a lot to wrap your head around. But exciting. It's good times. Exciting times. Strange times, but exciting.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of opportunity for innovation in the space that, and that's why I think dealers who do look at alternative revenue streams and think about all the people walking into their dealerships, there's a lot of other money to be made that's maybe not tied directly to a car sale.
Yeah,
but
well, definitely I've heard of some dealerships looking at different, different avenues for revenue. What you mentioned one earlier, I can't remember what you said.
Well, I said like credit lock. You get a credit lock. You could sell that in finance, where you get a residual revenue from that. I said AdvoCare too. If someone likes vitamins, but it could be DirecTV. You're sitting in service, you could sell DirecTV in service. There's a ton of different things that have that residual.
That happens though. I mean, don't you think the consumer would be like, oh man, every time I go in there, they're trying to sell me something?
Well, I mean, it depends on how you do it. If you sell a credit lock in finance, it's just part of the paperwork. They don't have to do it. But if they do it, that's another revenue stream that you didn't have before. And if you were to sell DirecTV or something in service, you don't have to hammer them. Just there.
It's hard because the customer, you look at the CSI scores and one of the biggest issues is the consumer spends too much time at the dealership, too much time at the F&I office, but yet there's other ways of making revenue, and that's, adding more things to sell, which are going to take up more time, more paperwork to sign. They sort of work against each other. Even if you are presenting them, at the right time, the right moment, they're still going to take more time. So I don't know. I know a lot of dealerships are looking at selling insurance.
Yeah, there's a lot of dealerships putting insurance in their offices.
Yeah, and that sort of makes sense. I mean, you're a car dealership. Why not be able to sell car insurance?
I haven't seen very many of those work.
I know.
So and that's why mine are just examples. My whole thing is just about being outside the box. Don't be in the box. Get out of the box and figure out how can you make money doing other things with your business so you don't get stuck and you're not caught unaware if things change rapidly and you're like, what?
Yeah, I've even seen a lot of dealerships try to have like small restaurants, little delis, and it works for a while. Then they end up closing them up.
Right. But
So
then you have car dealerships that put a location in the mall, or a kiosk and do really well. That's what I
yeah,
mean.
I've seen that. I like that idea.
That's an idea. That's just, again, it's like, how can we make the customer more accessible for what we're doing? And I think ideas like that are really innovative and cool.
Yeah, no doubt. So you were touching on, switch gears a little bit around pre-roll. That's what you do with your now digital company.
It's a
And
big part of what we do, yes.
and that's your expertise. What are some best practices? I mean, why pre-roll? What's so significant about that?
Well, I believe that advertising has changed only so far as to become more digital. The way people get most of their ads now is more digital than it used to be, right? 20 years ago, everyone looked in the classified section of the newspaper. They watched TV and listened to the radio. Those were the prime, maybe direct mail. And now I could be on, home and garden television online, and I could be sitting in a zip code. I could be an in-market shopper because Oracle and Edmunds and all these people have this data. And I could see an ad for your dealership while I'm getting ready to watch a clip from an HDTV show. So the idea of being able to take television and put it online and to be able to target zip codes, to be able to target demographics based on in-market shoppers. So we're not just, instead of hitting everyone and hoping that 3 to 5% are in the market for a car, maybe 0.2% in the market for your car, we can hit a percentage of people that are actually shopping for the brand that you're looking for and put a commercial in front of them. And so the idea, we do geofencing video also. So the idea that when someone leaves your competitor's lot, we can follow them around with one of your TV ads. And then we can retarget them. So once I've been on your website, my ad's going to follow you around for the next 30 days. It's just a way of taking the traditional method of advertising and I think refining it and making it better. And because we can do all the production, it's just made.
Oh, she's muted again.
I've got it. Some music.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yep, and now.
I can't. Keep getting calls. Sorry.
No worries. No worries. No, I just wasn't sure if there was something in particular, but of course, if you've got some secrets on what works best with pre-roll, you need to keep those things to yourself.
I just think it's a great media, and if you can help dealers redirect some of their wasted dollars in areas that they can't really get business from, and target it and get high frequency video campaigns, it's extremely it works very well.
Yeah, no doubt. We participate in it, do very well with it. So if anyone's watching and they want to get some more information on women in automotive in the next conference, I know we've spoken about this before, but where can they go to get more information?
Womeninautomotive.com has all the details. It's going to be at the Coronado Springs at Disney in June. We'll have the New York Auto Show April 28th, which is going to be at 9 o'clock in the morning. And then, of course, we'll be at Digital Dealer in April. So if any of you guys want to come to our booth at Digital Dealer, I'll be there, and we can chat about women in automotive or pre-roll or whatever you want to talk about.
So that's having a booth there, you're just going to have a little bit of hodgepodge of everything?
It's just women in automotive. We're going to promote the event so we can get, let women know they can go to this really fun thing in June. The really cool part about women in automotive for me and is that it's not just for dealer employees. It's for any woman who's affiliated with automotive whatsoever. And it's for men who want to learn how to better attract and retain women. We have leadership, we have dealership tactics, we have hiring and retaining, marketing to women, personal development. There's something for everyone. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. And it's not a sales conference either. You don't come because people are going to try to sell you the latest and greatest. You come because you want to learn and network. And the vendors who support us are doing it in part because they want to get their message out, but also it's good PR for them, and their people get to come and enjoy it too. So it's a it's a really cool niche that we have. So I hope, Jeff, it's in June. That's not that far. That's not that close.
No, it's not. It's not.
You should be able to come to that.
I'm going to do my best.
Go to Disney World.
Yeah, I was there 2 years ago. Wasn't too bad. Good times.
Yeah.
So, well, Christy, we definitely appreciate your time today. Thanks for joining us and answering our questions and helping promote the women in automotive.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Hope to see you soon one of these days.
You'll see me again, I'm sure.
All right, you guys. Thanks so much.
All right, we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye.